So now Professor Shriram would talk about the museum for showcasing preservation of history of sciences.
Well, I don't have any definitive ideas. Whatever I could think of, in the past 1 hour or so, I just jotted down. I have been to Mayapur quite some time back, 5-6 years back. And any visitors to that place, I've been there, I was a visitor, and many other people. I mean, Indians are such that they will always be in a celebratory mood, I've gone to various places, ISKCON temple in Bangalore and many other places I have gone. I mean, though it may be a religious place or it may be another place, so they will be in a celebratory mood, That's a very interesting thing. So now, here I think the museum is a good idea. They should, I think one of the things they should celebrate is the astronomical heritage of India. So that is a very valid purpose for this museum. So now I don't have much to say about the early period, Vedic and Vedanga Jyotisha period, things like that. I'm sure a lot of people will be able to contribute, how to put, various Vedic and Vedanga period and Purāṇa concepts in the museum. I think that will be a very worthwhile task. In terms of panels and some pictures and this kind of thing, that is quite possible. So I'll somewhat concentrate on this Siddhāntic period, Siddhānta. So that's a very important part of our tradition. So I think one should, so that is something not known to people, ordinary people. So that should be, demonstrated and displayed there, like in the major astronomical text in India, and in terms of what kind of contents they have. You see, people don't know exactly. So they know that there is Aryabhatiya, there is Brihad Samhita, but they don't know what they contain. So I think that also should be displayed there, what kind of contents are there. Like, Aryabhata, what does he say? He talks about the sign tables. He talks about planetary calculations. He talks about, eclipses. He talks about the rotation of the Earth. I think those should be represented in that, so that the people will come to know about it. And even, eclipses, what is the visualization of an eclipse? How do you find out the sparsha and moksha of an eclipse? So it's very beautiful verses are given. So I think that should be pointed out. I mean, even yesterday there was a very good talk by Pauneshwar Das Prabhu. So they say, why not display that? So what does Surya Siddhanta say? Surya Siddhanta, he gave a great, in detail he discussed how the planetary computations are done and how the orbits are done. In planetary computations, of course, I have been doing Siddhanta, Surya Siddhanta and many other things. But what is nice was, how to get the orbits. That's very interesting, you see. So that will be very interest people. You see, Surya Siddhanta, that is there. This is the procedure for calculations. And this is what you get. I mean, people may not appreciate the sine function and Shigra and Manda, but they will certainly appreciate the orbits and things like that, So that kind of stimulations must be there. And yesterday, there's a talk about this thing also. Professor Prema Gauranga also talked about Ghatika and Ghatika Yantra. So that also should be incorporated in that, instruments in our heritage. Okay. First of all, the Shanku, Gnomon, which I talked about, what are the things that you can get and things like that. And there are various other instruments, okay, like Ghatika Yantra, I already told, for measuring time. Gnomon or Shanku for measuring time, again, more in an astronomical kind of way of finding time. There are various other instruments listed, even in Aryabhata Siddhanta, which is not fully known, but some parts of it are known, like Chakra Yantra and Turiya Yantra and so on that. And later Nadi Valaya Yantra, things like that, Kapala Yantra, and coming to Phalaka Yantra Bhaskaracharya in 12th century. So they are all very good instruments. So those instruments also, I think, may be finding some place. And you may think about, the modern observatories in India also. Why not? That is also a part of our heritage. And there is a big, nice optical observatory in Kavalur there's a great radio physics, astrophysics observatory in Pune, right? So there are many other things. So that also is a part of our heritage now. So possibly they also could be included in the museum. So thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your presentation. You want to make any comment?
Professor Shriram, thank you very much. You're spot on. This is exactly what we hope to include within the museum. We have a fair bit of space, and we can show so many of these incredible facets. We will have to pick and choose the ones that people, as you said.
Yeah.
But also what came to mind is the idea that some of the museums can be interactive and not as visual, and it would be wonderful to receive a number of the kind of items of calculation.
Yeah.
You know, we could have Purāṇic's little pots with Katika bowls. I think we should have a tela press, you know, we should have an oil press, showing that, because that is one of the analogies given in the Bhagavatam. There's also, so if we can work together with you and many of the others and see what items would be very suitable for inclusion, that would be wonderful.
One more thing is, of course, we have been talking about for a long time, and myself, my colleague Srinivas and Neelakanta's planetary model, that's a very good thing. How, planetary model, how planetary motion is. So that is hardly known to people. So that also could be included, some kind of a model kind of a thing and so on. I think that should be worked out. And one important thing is that, I think we should concentrate on what exactly the statements that are made in the text, okay? And in the context of that, it is better to do, not imagine things. I think some things are not happening here, but many places there are too many extrapolations of, what might be there in our text. I think one has to be careful. I think people will be critical if we keep on, making, unsubstantiated claims. So only those things that are there, the texts are there, some statements are there, and which have been evidence for that. So that kind of thing must be there.
I would just like to say one thing. While we are talking about preserving heritage, we should also look into preserving this poetic pedagogy. It is one of the gems of Indian history, is the poetic pedagogy, because it allows one to teach complex topics in a beautiful fashion which doesn't scare the student, whether it's mathematics, astronomy, or any other subject. I think some project, some experiment, in fact, I always keep saying about this wherever I go. In fact, I have also even trained some teachers. I've attempted to train some teachers in trying to reinstitute this poetic pedagogy, but in the standard educational system, this may be somewhat difficult. But in the kind of a Gurukula system or some such system which perhaps ISKCON runs, this may be an experiment which is worth undertaking and reintroducing, because it has amazing, outcome in terms of educational outcomes. I suspect it will be quite beneficial to undertake this experiment.
Thank you so much for all our esteemed guests. And I think we are definitely looking at Professor Shriram and Dr. Kolochan, in some way collaborating. I'm sure they will be more than willing. Thank you so much. And interestingly, also Mayapur lies on the 24-degree north latitude. So that's like the...
Oh, it's 24 degrees north?
Yes, it's actually on the topic of cancer. So I think that makes it all the more interesting to have something of that kind there. Thank you so much. And I would thank all the panelists.